Alright, welcome to My Sorare Journey, episode 66, everyone's favourite of my series. So yeah, let's get into it. We have a huge episode today. The 23-24 European season is around the corner on Sorare, and I don't really know what to do. So let me get you up to speed with what's been happening on the journey and why I'm so lost. The summer goal was really simple. Make as much money as possible, have it all liquid for the start of the new European season, then sweep up one of the huge collections on Sorare so you can take advantage of the overpowered collection bonus, roll that out on SO5 for the whole year, do as well as we can, and yeah, hopefully grab a couple of podiums, a couple of wins. So what's changed? Well, before I get into that, let's see how we're doing. So we've been trading as much as we can. We've been trading with lots of different strategies, and we've managed to turn a profit so far of £558, about 122% return. This has been really, really strong. Different examples of what I've been doing. For example, you might have seen in previous episodes who I've picked up, but we've picked up 5 MYSRJs, right? So we sold him into the international hype, made about £40. We picked up like 8 Alex Garcias. We picked him up because essentially his average scores didn't equate to his value. So I thought over time his value would creep up. It did. We got £21 made out of that and still a couple to sell. The other strategy, like transfer speculation, so Jan Sommer, Neuer being back, he's almost certainty to leave the club. We sold into the hype of that, looked like he's going to Inter, so we made £36 and we still got 1 to sell. We'll wait until the deal's confirmed. Trying to avoid risks at the same time, so not maximizing the profit, just getting risk off the table. And there's a big bundle buy, which made us a load of profit. You can check it out in a short here. I hope you enjoy. And to a lot of you, that might be a little bit boring because, of course, that money has already been made. I want to know how to make money now. Which card should I be buying? These are the ones I'm buying. So Anthony Ralston, he'll be starting for Celtic because of Johnson's injury for the start of the season. So I think a cap of 41 starting for Celtic. He'll come into demand right at the start of next season. So holding for a month or so, but we'll have a good couple of game weeks and you can sell out into that hype. David Turnbull, one that I kind of expect to leave Celtic. I mean, he might have a better chance under Brendan Rodgers. He's really talented as a footballer, but I just don't see him beating much of Celtic's midfield in terms of the whole game. As a player, I'm not seeing him slot ahead of any of our midfield, especially when we're looking to strengthen there. So I think he could move to an SPL team and absolutely boss it. So I'm picking up a few of him, but nothing crazy. Livakovic, I got lucky that I'm getting XP off him because his season starts really early. He played last night, which is great. But I heard a weird rumor that he was linked with Celtic. I was like, oh my God, that would make me so happy. And I just thought I'd just pick up a couple just in case. Probably nothing. I saw Professor Tekers pick up this guy and thought he was quite good. And he seems to know his challenger. He just moved to Braga. He's moved to somewhere. I think it's Braga. And essentially I was like, he gives out some good tips, this guy. Sometimes you should kind of listen, so I have. We'll see how it goes. Should probably buy a better one, but obviously these are just kind of like trades at the minute. Julian Alvarez, I saw a link that he was leaving Bayern Munich. Oh, sorry, he was going out on loan to Bayern Munich if they couldn't secure Kane, and I thought that would be huge for him. Probably a lot of nothingness in that rumour, but for the sake of £33, there's a lack of downside with Alvarez. He's not playing at the minute, so that kind of reflects his price. So that's kind of my thinking there. And that's kind of it, and except for ones you've seen before, like Canales, who I think is going to the Mexican League, and I think he'd just absolutely crush it there. So that would be huge if it goes through. I've got a load of him to sell. Tete's another one that I just thought out of contract, doesn't want to play in Ukraine, likely to get a move, sell it to transfer hype. Moussa Dembele. Now, I just highlight Moussa Dembele because this looks like it's going to turn sour. He's probably going to go to Saudi. We'll go down to £2. I'll lose a couple of pound on how many have I bought? 2 or 3 of him. It doesn't matter though at the end of the day because it's not about having every trade being right. It's about having more winners than losers, and I think that's what people get confused with when trading. So hugely happy with my trading journey. You should really try it out for yourself. Not with these players. Try the trading out with a couple of your own players that you know a little bit of information about, and maybe you can sell into hype where they've got a great cap score. So many different opportunities. The 5% tax I haven't really noticed too much. So yeah, give it a go. Or maybe don't. Because the 2 massive situations that have happened that are making me doubt my whole strategy, maybe reshift it or just narrow it into a little bit more focused at the minute. First up, the market. Now, I posted on this on Twitter and a few people reacted to it. I was actually away for that weekend, so I didn't really get into any good debates. I didn't just leave it for this video, but I picked up a few Vinicius Junior cards because I was like, okay, I need as much liquid capital at the end of August just to sell out of my cards. Maybe the beginning of August, doesn't really matter. So you want some of the best players on the game, and then you want to sell into the hype of new players coming in and old players trying to get some of the best cards in the gallery, all the rest of it. So I was like, Vinicius Junior, fantastic buy. I'm not going to panic into him. I can buy them across a month. I picked up 2. Last sale was 197. I was picking up at 183s, 179s. I was like, fantastic. Watch him creep up a little bit. I was trying to sell here, but this was just like one auction that went wild. And then the market started to come down. 154 it went down to. It's kind of rebounded now to like 181. We're kind of trending just flat at the minute, which doesn't give me that anticipation to, yes, go out and trade more. I'm happy to hold my ETH balance at the minute. And I was looking around, and it wasn't just like Vinicius Jr., because obviously I was trying to pick someone that's just got no chance of moving to Saudi, and I was like, yeah, probably, Vinicius Jr. is right top of the list. And then Kimmich had a lot of mints for being top of the Sorare award, but yeah, a slow line down. And I don't want to cause panic. It's nothing dramatic. It's like 259 to 210. And there's a load of different reasons why this might be happening. We have the wallet coming out, the fiat wallet. So many people are waiting for that. The end of the season, if you're buying cards now, the XP, the 5% bonus, it's going to have no utility because the new cards will be out soon. Different Sorare reasons like that. I actually think the majority is being caused by the economic situation. People still haven't got loads of money to go out and spend on football cards. If you're looking at the last two years of Sorare card values, they've been trickling down, right? So it's not something that you see and you're like, yes, I have to get involved in that. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it. My only slight doubt is what happens when new supply comes out. But I think the game will be in a better stage by then. That's kind of my assumption, and I know the risks involved, but I just think the fiat wallet, the developments they're making on the product roadmap, all of the rest of it lead to a nice happy ending by the time the new supply comes out. And this doesn't mean prices are going to go up, hugely. I'm not even sure they will go up, but stability isn't bad in this market. It's just not something I'm going to trade into and risk losing 5% on every trade, essentially. So the market has turned me a little bit off my trading strategy, just quieting it down a little bit, just trading little transfer rumors and stuff like I see. But the other thing I've hinted at already, the product roadmap. Now, overall, for me, hugely positive update. I know all the people's concerns. I posted a lot about it on Twitter in terms of things I liked, things I didn't like. I did a whole post on it. But the key part for me is obviously this whole change in fitness and change in XP. I am on the optimistic side, which is weird. I always seem to be one of the negative sides of when announcements come out. I just view it as it is. And I can see the positives in fitness, to be honest, especially, an extra revenue stream for Sorare. It's going to balance out teams a little bit more, and it's going to stop people just being, boring, just putting out five teams. It's a fantasy football game. You should have this little bit of strategy to it. Now, I heard people say it's a bit gimmicky and where do you draw the line and stuff. I get that. If you go further, if you start adding boots and shirts and all the rest of it, which we definitely don't want. But fitness bonus linked with the other XP bought into all of the other modes, I really think it's strong. But what you really need now is depth. It is depth over quality for me. Now, there is a balance in that. You can't just have a load of depth of useless cards. You need quality at the same time. But if you can rotate cards, or you can see, okay, he's got a great game coming up next week, but a tough game this week, rather than playing him in this derby that's going to be tough, I'm just going to sit him on the bench and play and, waste that team or put that team in training. And for that, you need depth. And for depth, you need money. Or you need to move down a scarcity. So if you've seen my gallery at the minute, 94 limited cards. Keep in mind, a lot of those are for trade, so we'll call it 50 limited cards, 22 rare and super rare. At the end of the last season, I ventured into super rare for a bit of fun, but realistically, it is not my division. I was playing outside on a huge risk if someone gets injured. I managed to sell into a profit for my Edgar Bidet super rare, and I'm happy to call it quits there. So I did have up all of my super rares that sellable. So Yuri Tillman's got a nice transfer to Aston Villa. I don't think there's anything too bad or too good about him. That's why he's up for sale. Kevin Volland, haven't seen much of recently, but I was expecting him to make a move. Be disappointed if he doesn't. Hendricks is so cheap for someone that might start for Leipzig. Fedo, my friend and Bundesliga expert, actually texted me and was like, get your Mo Simichan off sale. Like, he has a huge chance of starting next season every single game if Guardiola goes. And the Guardiola thing is a nightmare. Now they don't want to pay City, or they don't want to accept as much money from City because they don't need money. And apparently, like, Fabrizio Romano leaked the news too early, and that's caused a bit of the downfall in this transfer. So don't know if Guardiola goes to City, but if he does, Simichan should be huge. So although I don't want super rares, and this could be £1,000 player easily, I can't really do much if I think he's going to go up in value. I'm just going to hold him, when he goes up in value, sell, and then deal with it at a later date, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you do want most sim account, you'll be paying a nice premium on him, but yeah, send your offers my way. Gino Wijnaldum, what's he doing? He was going to Eredivisie. It made perfect sense. It's kind of what I expected. Gone completely quiet. And now I'm scared of Saudi, but I haven't seen any Saudi rumors, to be fair. So yeah, no idea what's going on with him. Have you noticed something? If you know my super rares, there is one very special man missing. And by very special, I mean very annoying. He is the bane of my existence. Let's pull him up. Armin Gigovic. My worst reward ever for coming second place in a super rare division. The man killed all my glory, and he is gone from the club. Get out of here, mate. We ended up selling for £225. £225. Don't know why I made that so hard, but it's not that bad. It's not great. In terms of his rare value, it's very good. I got about 5x. But in terms of where I should have been finishing, should have got much higher. We're going to move past it. We've got rid of him, and essentially we've sold a very illiquid super rare for 225. So thank you to whoever bought him off me, and yeah, hope he does well for you. Kind of don't want him to pop off, but he can do it right, So my prediction for 23-24 season on Sorare is XP will be the most used word on any content creator video. And if it's not, I really just think people are missing the point. So coming in, you've got a chance to gain 5% new season bonus, 10% fitness bonus, 10% XP bonus, and 5% collection bonus. Now, if you add up 20, 30% on your standard scores, you could get 130 points just from one player. It's hard to explain just how critical that will be if you don't get it. If you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. But anyway, I am going to position my gallery in the best possible XP way. It's going to be the small niche that you can take advantage of, someone that understands the game more. And it really shows over the long term rather than the short term. So you have to stay true to a strategy. You have to stick with it, which will probably be my biggest weakness, my biggest concern. But, the ability to maximize them depends on how many cards you have, how many cards in the same collection you have, how many new cards you have. And it's not some game-breaking news that these are going to be the best way to play the game. So they're going to cost a bit of money. And I can talk about ways closer to the time. I think I can bring the cost down a little bit so you're not, just paying a huge amount of money where you don't even win it back or whatever. But yeah, essentially, rare or limited, it is a huge decision for me at the minute. And limited rare is just the start of the iceberg of where all these decisions have to come to a crunch time in the next month or so. Going long is the new long form competition they're going for. So essentially it's based over 8 weeks and it's only your top 4 scores that count. And I was like, this is exactly what I've aiming for. We've known about it for months now. That ability to play consistently well over weeks is something I think plays to my strength rather than just showing up for one game week. But they're only announcing it in All-Star All-Star. So my most enjoyment came out of playing Champion Europe because there's just 5 leagues in it. They're the best 5 leagues in the world. There's the best quality of football. There's the best football players in there. It's fun to watch every week. They're on at, decent times to where I live. It just all made sense, but I can't play Champion Europe cards in the most optimal way by putting them in All-Star, because in All-Star I'll be coming up against J-League cards, MLS cards, Challenger cards, which have an all cheaper starting base. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Like I could put them in and it would be fine, but it's not optimal. And I kind of want to be optimal next season in every single way. So do I move out of my passion project, Champion Europe, and, becoming one of the most knowledgeable Champion Europe people on the platform? I don't know. I don't want to, but I have to, maybe. Unless the key, I could drop into limited again, become the limited whale, have some of my best limited cards from, when I was the limited whale, the original limited whale, and then bring in the collection bonuses of a Champion Europe club, of a Challenger Europe club. That is a huge potential, and that's kind of the way I'm leaning. But it goes against everything I've been talking about these last couple of journeys, where over time, Sorare is going to push you up the division so that, their super rare users are looked after more than their rare users, because obviously they spend more money and all the rest of it. And it makes sense as an economy, right? So catch 22, because if I go into limited and take the most optimal route and just dominate, little percentages here and there, I could miss out on the big picture where Sorare go, wow, these super rare users, let's go give them trips to this and let's go give them trips to that. And can you help me, please? I don't know what to do. But it's a very key part of the product roadmap that people aren't really talking about. The final XP requirement stays the same, but they've changed the formula so that you progress slower in the initial months. So, if you've been playing the game for a while, those first couple of points of XP just fly by, like you just get them instantly. And that's why like new season cards can have such an impact, because they can catch old season cards. And my calculation was like 8 game weeks, 10 game weeks, depending on how well your team plays and all the rest of it. And then I've actually opened up the whole stats here. It's not too big of a change. You see it starts at 100. It's now starting at 150 for level 1, and then 300 and 500 compared to like 200 and 400. But it will have an impact. So even my ability to buy new season cards is into consideration, because obviously new season cards come with a price premium, whereas I can get old season cards and just hold on to them. But to be honest, I think the horse has kind of bolted on that. If you had been building up an old season collection for a while, I think that makes sense for you to stick on that path. But for me, for someone that's collection bonus maxes out at like 3% on a Celtic team where they don't have any usable cards in this gallery, I've only got like the fodder really. I think it makes sense for me to just kind of start new and go really hard on the brand new collection bonus. Because if you haven't watched before, the reason why getting the new collection at the start of the season is so impactful, you will have the best potential version of that card ever. So if you get the best scores, you are winning that division. Whereas people that are collecting the old season versions, they can be beat. And there will be a crossover period where the old season cards are better for, the first 10, 11, 12 game weeks, whatever. But throughout the season, the net result is the new season cards win. That's obviously planned because Sorare want to sell new season cards. People don't really care for it. They just kind of like the new season graphics more. And that will have an impact this year. Now we've got 3D cards coming. But yeah, I think it's just important to note that this might change things. I might need to run my calculations again, but looking at it visually, I think it will be fine that, new season cards will still be the best route. If you haven't started. If you have started, you should probably just crack on with the old version collection you're going for. So if we just say for a minute, our best potential would be dropping down to limited, getting a Challenger Europe stack, a Champion Europe stack, and maybe a half stack of another one. And then we can play those all together and just, be the limited whale again and do really well, win every week. Let's see how our teams look currently, because it's a lot to transition. That 5% tax is a tax, right? You're going to lose it. So, yeah. So the focus was Champion Europe, and it's crossing over between Rare and Rare Pro on different game weeks based on fixtures. In the goalkeeper positions, we have Unai Simon, really solid for Bilbao, and Rui Patricio, good for Roma, really good, but probably will lose his spot next season. And then I also have Hugo Lloris as a punt. I thought he'd have a new team by now. He doesn't. I'm hoping he goes to France and not Saudi Arabia. Our defence is pretty lackluster. Jose Gaia and Mancini are not strong scorers on the game, not like top level. They're good, they're not great. Leipzig are a defensive stack in Rare Pro of Simican and Hendricks, who unlikely to play together, and then DeMarcos, who's a 40 average until he hits a 60 once in a while. Midfield is quite good with Remy Cabella, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Ivan Ilic, and then on the super rare side, who we are trying to get rid of, obviously Tillemans, maybe Wijnaldum, and then we thought Verratti was off to Saudi, so I actually put him in the kind of like reserve section, but he could come in, or maybe I sell him. And then we've got up front the main man, my ride or die, Paulo Dybala, expecting huge things for him next season. Hopefully he stays injury free. But outside of that, again, Edouard, Duro, Pichler and Fidel aren't really great scorers. Include Kevin Volland, the super rare in that as well. The team's just looking naff. But I don't want to sell them all because there's some incredible pieces. Like if you played Dybala, Remy Cabella, Verratti, Gaia, and any of your goalkeepers keep a clean sheet, you're on for like a tier 1 star position. So again, stuck on what to do. Please let me know in the comments. This is why I make the videos. In Limited, we have this huge benefit where we've held these cards for a very long time. So a lot of them are on killer XP. Remember that, but in goal, Donnarumma, Jan Sommer for Champion Europe. Under 23, we can play Nico Mantle. But recently, he's been in speculation about losing his spot. They've said Schlanger's going to be the starter at Leipzig, Salzburg, sorry. So not sure if he's going to move on. Defense is great on some weekends and absolutely horrific on the other. So Hakimi, Jules Koundé, Frimpong, Henrique, Jorotto, and Guindo. Now Guindo's one that's really slept on. I'm just going to check his price. Now I'm not a Salzburg expert, but you know, they are such a dominant team. He got recalled from loan where he was absolutely popping off in SO5. I think he's got a great chance of being a huge scorer next year for £6 unlimited or £50 in rare. So keep an eye on him maybe, you know, not an expert as I said. But that defence works really well. Midfield is boss. Like Kimmich, Fernandes, Camavinga, Shamani, Cruz, Szymanski. I mean, that's just boss in both divisions. Up front, strong with Vinicius Jr., and then it drops a bit for Dwight McNeil and Bolo, Koita, and Ant-Man. But overall, like as an under-23 team, that's really going to do well, and that almost puts me off going harder on that division because I can deploy more capital. I can go into the rare division harder. I do have, like 1.8k in my balance. Got some more ETH stored up. It could all go into so rare in theory. It's just, you know, I'm a big crypto guy, so involved in a lot of crypto projects at the same time. Because of the last year of how prices have gone and stuff, I'm not as keen as I was to just throw everything at so rare. Like just to be completely honest, like if a graph has gone down for a year and a half and the supply only gets more and there's a tax and ETH deposits aren't going to be free and stuff, it does bring doubts into your mind. Not that the platform won't be here, I'm sure it'll be here in terms of like making a return on that ETH, because I think that's why a lot of people are here. I'm not going to lie about it, right? The game is so incredibly fun to play, but without that risk element, without that ability to return ETH or return sterling or dollars, however you look at it, it probably wouldn't be in the same position it is now. So yeah, that's the honest truth. And we've already got so much depth. We've already got more teams that can go out. I think Leroy said he's going to be starting, can't remember what club he's at, and somewhere in the French League 2. Hugo Cinquet, not sure where he's going to be, but he's going to pop off. Litai is injured. Harry Winks was just one of those guys I really think is going to do well next season. Like, watch out for him. Jonathan Vieira, a boss, but moving up a league. I think he might struggle. Ratti spoke about, could be at Saudi, could be at PSG, could be anywhere in the world. And then Lionel Messi, the man, and of course, rest in peace, Jota. We're going to miss you. Enjoy Saudi. Hope you win the Ballon d'Or over there. But yeah, again, more questions than answers. It's educational, this episode. I think it will help a lot of you, hopefully. But I am stuck myself, so a lot of insight would be great. A like and comment's always good. And one option I haven't discussed, but I have weighed up in my head, we could just trade to glory forever. Like, we could just be a trader. You know, Alex Trades, for example. We made £546, so why would you stop it? Obviously, I discussed, it's easier to trade in a market going up than it is going down or going sideways. But, these opportunities arise all the time in terms of like specific players that will rise compared to the rest of the market. I'm thinking cap modes, for example, are always a good example. Players making a transfer or getting a starting spot, and that requires football knowledge, and that's what I have anyway. So there is a potential just to roll out the average teams I have, and when they hit well, I'll score really well, and just trade with the other money and just try and run it up, really. I think the only issue with that is it's so time consuming sometimes, like just listing, buying, losing out auctions, you got to be patient. Like a lot of these players I haven't sold at the top of where I should have been just because I was too busy in life. So yeah, leaving money on the table isn't fun. And of course the risk, I suppose there's risk with holding the cards for the game anyway. Longer term, it's better to hold the cards and probably trade the cards, maybe. I don't really know. It is a lost episode. Like I said, help wanted. Please let me know where you guys lie. And besides that, I'll just think on my own and then maybe crunch some numbers and come back to you. If you like this, please like, please subscribe, and all the best to you. Cheers.